Well, hello. This is if all my calculations are correct, these two crimes is related. No, this is our 10th. This is my 10th installment of Kerbal Space Program in Uncharted Lands. And we're just gonna go straight to flying. I've got I am too tired to be doing this. I'm feeling kind of confused and a little perplexed, and it's been a strange day. But I am going to carry on. If I can validate that test. Yeah, no, here we are. We're hearing what we expect. Get back to Kerbal. Turn off the birds, and we're gonna launch a new probe. We're starting out with an unmanned launch. So we have another unmanned blue dice. That brings that up to 3. There's 3 of each. Now, last time we launched a space station into low Kerbal orbit. Start pitching right away, 30 meters per second, SAS off, Norris small sat with empty bottom tank. All right. How much does this mass? This vessel. So last time we launched a space station, we did some probes. I've realized that I don't think I have a map of Minmus. It's not a biome map, but it's a thing to do. Mini mapper. I'm not even sure we can map Minmus. It only masses 18.5 tons. So we're going to add a pad ready alarm for 2 days. Great. Pad will be ready in 2 days. And let's just go ahead and launch this thing. We haven't been to Minmus in a while. We're launching on the Norris small-sat launcher. Z. E. Starting straight away with a sea shanty. Pirate shanty. Where is... Let's do chill. Try that. Alright. Here we go. In this beautiful... Underneath the rings. Here we go. Now, I'm not looking for phasing or anything right now. Because... other than attempting to keep this thing vaguely going on the right direction, we're not worried about phasing because of the nature of Minmus. We're just going to have to time accelerate to get it sorted out. We might pass through the rings. I'm considering being less precious about not going through the rings because they're creating an accidental barrier in getting things done. I didn't let this thing do what it was supposed to do. Let's see if it still works out. Thing should have more than enough delta V. Is this really the ascent I want? Probably not. Yeah, it was a big transition. I worked hard to get a strong ascent. But it shouldn't matter. You can just believe me that when I was designing it and testing it, it worked better. Alright, let's jettison the fairing. And you can see how cute this little ship is. Oh, the mini mapper. "30 seconds away. It is not the most efficient. You can tell it's not super efficient because our circularization burn is too long. We're just barely out of the atmosphere. But that is okay. It's nice and small, so we can time accelerate. Maybe have this be a little less tedious. So we got this little probe going out there, and then we're going to keep building out our space infrastructure. And what we're going to do next is, well, we have the Space Station core. It is uninhabited. I'm going back and forth on whether or not the next launch will actually have Kerbals on it or not. But I am thinking now that I might... pardon me while I concentrate on this. 80... There we go, we're out of the atmosphere. Circularized. Set that as target. Let's see how it's going. Anyway, I'm going back and forth on whether or not we are going to send Kerbals up on the next launch or the launch after that. Because I like the idea of doing a demonstration, you know, like a mission where the capsule goes to space and comes back and doesn't explode before we put the Kerbals on it. That seems logical, doesn't it? Okay, so in the time it will take us, this is our highly scientific approach, in the time that it will take us to go from where we are to here, Min-Miss will go here. Which means that if we just wait, it might... Let's see, next orbit. Yep. But if we do the next orbit, we'll be too late. Can I adjust for that? I just burn a little early. We have a lot of delta V. So I'm letting myself do a less efficient. What did I do? I'm trying to let myself do a less efficient rendezvous. There we go. We burn out further, hang out there longer. There we go, we get an intercept. So let's add a maneuver for that. Mini mapper in 33 minutes. We might want to not sit here in this time warp. Although I did change the time warp values so that we could go a bit faster. As long as we're above 85, I should have made my orbit higher. That's okay. We only have to go around once. So I don't know what I was saying. So the Space Station Centaur in orbit of Kerbin is well, in real life you use a space station for figuring out how to live in space. And the fun thing about this is that this is the first time I've actually really tried to use. There's no info on this. There's no life support here. The Umbra Space Industries life support mod, which it's one of the simplest life support mods, and yet my brain, like, I think I generally choose to play Kerbal when I'm a little fried, so sorting out how to do that right can get a little bit silly. So the point is that in this case, the space station actually will serve as the place where I work out how to live in space. It's all low stakes because I have it on the setting where they just go on strike if they're not fed, so it's all fine. But that's one purpose of the space station. The other purpose is just have something to try to get to because it's inclined, right? So the station, here it is. There's only one launch window per day. Looks like actually I thought I was going to do a launch right away because I'm timed kind of close to that launch window. I guess I think I might have thought I was going to do a station launch first. This is not a relay, by the way. Well, I guess it is a relay. I'm doing that thing where I have multiple sentences and it's like I'm juggling ideas. Parenthetical references, getting all confused. Alright, let's close. So whatever it was I was saying, hopefully it wasn't important. But I think it was that the other uses of the space station will be a place to dock things. But once we get a little bit more science, this is pretty. Once we get a little bit more science, really what the space infrastructure is for is to support easy for me, repeatable science gathering missions to the moons, to deposit science reports into a lab, which we haven't invented yet, but that's what we will do next with our science. Because the lab you can take... we made some space trash. You can take a science report from somewhere, and as long as that lab hasn't seen it before, it will turn that science into data points, which gets researched, and over time, the lab produces more science than you would have originally put into it. Which is helpful, because we need more technology. We need better technology to get out where we're going. Graphical issue going on there. Okay, did we end up with an encounter? We didn't. Let's turn around and see if we can fix that by doing a correction. Nope. It looks like... There it is. Alright, let's focus view. Now, here's the thing about Minmus. I'm gonna quick save. Minmus is weird. I think I want to burn radially. I think that will help a bit. Huh. Let's add a maneuver here. See if we can figure out how to fix this situation. Minmus is weird in that the last time we went to Minmus, well, I don't know if you remember, but it wouldn't let us leave. There was a weird, like, reaction with... We don't have to leave. The point is that in time acceleration, Minmus moves differently than not in time acceleration. I swear. Something really bizarre happens with Minmus's sphere of influence, and I think because the game is just not designed to have such a small object with such a small sphere of influence. Which actually brings it to, what is the specification? Well, it's not... This isn't where we see it. Hopefully we won't be, Whoops. Focus on Minmus. Hopefully we won't not be able to use this instrument. That's also part of this test, is does this instrument even work? Alright, that looks right. Let's get pointed the correct direction. Wow, it looks so funky. Why did we slow down? For some reason, the warp to maneuver node didn't work. But that's okay. I'm just making some guesses. I want to be down here because I'm concerned. I feel like when we do get into an orbit of Minmus, our period is going to be so long. Like, the orbital speed is so low that I'm concerned about being stuck. Here's the part where the burn is expensive. We have to spend over 600 meters per second to get into a stable orbit of Minmus, because it's so small. It might as well not be there. We're basically going out to like a Kerbal stationary orbit and sitting there. Incidentally, this is where our launch site is going to be. We're going to build an equatorial launch site. By build, what I mean is I'm going to put it back where it originally was, and then we'll have two. But not anytime soon. All right, we're going to quick save. And then we're just going to do a gentle time warp. We'll go a little faster as we go around. And we're not going to come out of time warp until we have crossed the sphere of influence. There's the space station. I love seeing the orbits gradually fill up. There's the windowsill. There's sine wave 1 or there. Oh yeah, that's the probe from Velociraptor 1D Polar. Incidentally, we've only been in flight for an hour and a half. Getting to Minmus does not take very long. Now we're going to slow way down, but we're not going to come out of time acceleration until we're safely within the sphere of influence. There we go. And we have to start burning there because look how fast we're moving through the sphere of influence. This is why it bugs out, because the game is just not used to this type of change happening so quickly. So we are burning to reshape our orbit such that it matches the way that Minmus moves. This is fascinating. And our periaps is going to go out. How are we doing on fuel? We're fine. I built it with plenty of Delta V. We're halfway through our burn and we still haven't captured into an orbit. But that is alright. It won't look quite how we originally planned, but that we don't need it to. We just need it to close back up. Alright, we can delete that. Let's burn down slightly so that we also circularize that way. I'm not sure I did that right, but the point is, here we are in a polar orbit of lumpy old Minmus, and now we can point towards the planet, and we can extend the antenna. Not that we need to. We can extend this antenna so that it looks cool, and then begin scanning radar altimetry. It is online. Watch, this is gonna... This is so small, but what is our orbital period right now? We're gonna get to our periaps in 17 minutes. This whole mission seems a little bit like maybe was unnecessary, but it was kind of relaxing. Oh no, we're not tracking. We were over the pole. Look, that's where we landed. That's the ice peaks where Gwenvin landed on Minty Minmus. We lost signal. Is that because we lost battery power? No. I think it's just because we're on the dark side of Minmus. Yeah. Once our let's make sure that our solar panels are oriented such that they catch the sun. Such that they block out the sun. No, there we go. And the next event is just the pad ready in a day. So we can have a little electronic dance music scanning. My ground track is almost perfect. I changed all the time warp limits, by the way, because it was going to be terrible. Wonder why we're not getting the South Pole. Why aren't we getting the South Pole? Oh, we're too low. We'll make our... I think we have to be over 5 kilometers, so we'll just fix that. I'm out of time warp. This is pretty. Oh, that almost went badly. We still facing the sun? No. This is so pretty. Oh, I don't know if this is fun to watch, but it is really relaxing for me. One of the main reasons I love playing this game so much. Just get these really fascinating moments. I love watching orbits happen. I love watching the celestial ballet, as Scott Manley calls it. Guess this is contemporary or jazz, though. The celestial jazz dance. I'm noticing that something that I had not noticed before. I thought Minmus was geostation or kerbostationary, but it is not. Oh yeah, no, we do one rotation a day or something. I think it's a 3-hour period. I think we go around Kerbin once every 3 hours. Whereas Kerbin rotates all the way once every 6 hours. It's fun watching the rings vibrate up and down as we study Minmus. 96%. We don't have to sit here. Like it can complete itself on its own. So what am I doing next? So next is a Kerbal launch. So I think what I will say for my brain, oh, there it is, it's completed. Analyze data. Low resolution altimetry scan from Minmus. You grudgingly acknowledge that the guys over at Kerbal Astronomical Society were right. Minmus really is a moon. You wouldn't have believed it if you hadn't seen the altimetry scan with your own eyes. We only get 5 science for all that. But it's something. At least we get something. And we were able to send it home, just barely. I almost didn't put enough batteries on this thing. Well, anyway, this thing can stay here, being a relay. It's going to point up and down, though, so that it'll always have solar panels. Yay! So I was talking myself through the next mission, which is the launch of the first Deinonychus spacecraft. Now, if you know your dromaeosaurs, you know why I've named it that. The 1 meter, 5 hours. The capsule we've been using is called the Kurtloceraptor. Name suggested. And, but now we've upgraded, and this new capsule is bigger. So what I haven't decided is whether or not, faster. What I haven't decided is whether or not the capsule will have Kerbals in it this time around. And what I think I'd like to say is that yes, it will have Kerbals on it. Can we warp to the next morning? Yes, I'll go ahead and have Kerbals on it, with the caveat that we all collectively imagine that we've already flown test flights, because the thing is I have already flown test flights when I was designing it. Because if I didn't fly test flights when I designed stuff, like, the staging would be all wrong, you know? Alright, so what I've been doing is I've been aligning the camera to try to be looking at the space station's traversal of the orbit as a flat line, so that I can see when the Space Center is about to come under it, because this is our launch window. We can only launch into the plane of the space station once a day. So this might fail. Waiting for it to get in the center. And that's about right. Let's go out. So, wish me luck. Vehicle assembly building so that time stops while I think about what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm too tired to be doing this. Half hour in, all right. So this was Minimapper. Let's open Deinonychus 1A capsule. Load. Nope, that's not it. That was an old version. There it is. Deinonychus 1-A. You can see why I was confused. I made a lot of iterations. Here it is. I'm going to turn the music down just slightly. So we've got the Argus, a version of the Argus rocket. Again, only two. This is a one that is slightly smaller even than the one that launched the space station. The one that launched the space station was the. You might not care. The one that launched the space station was the Argus 2L for 2 liquid boosters. This is the 2L10 for. It's not supposed to launch something. That's what this is. 2L10 Argus, 2 liquid boosters, but it's launching something under 10 tons. And then of course we've got larger versions. We got the Argus with 4 boosters, but we haven't needed that yet. So, and inside are just some parts for the space station. Let's just go for it. Let's put the crew in. We hired some new Kerbals, so we already had Jondrin, Gwenvin, and Cloffin. We are now welcoming, everybody welcome, Ludby, Jedwig, Seanbree, and Eriri. I'm not sure. We'll get there. We get one more scientist, actually, a pilot. They're very... Jerdrin is just so similar to the other names that I have. She's not courageous and very stupid, but we don't need another pilot. Let's go back. Gwenvin has done more things. Let's send Jondrin. He hasn't been anywhere. And then we want Cloffin. She's not gotten to go into space. And we will send Jedwig. Do we need an engineer in space? I don't know that we need an engineer yet. But we'll send up scientists. Let's just get our scientists leveled up, huh? But what we got to be careful because they have habitation limits. And we don't want our scientists to be sick of being in space before they've gotten to do their researching. So we'll keep two scientists home. Coffin will finally get to go to space. And we'll send up Seanbree to be an engineer. And we'll send Iriri to get experience as well. So we got 2 engineers for the new space station, scientists, and I don't know why I had to think so hard about that. The historic launch of Deinonychus 1A, which masses 75.9 tons. So you know what that means. Add pad ready. 8 days. Add alarm. Okay. All right. Wish me luck. Save and launch. This is our launching music. This is a reload sensitive material. But if this works out, then I'm taking all these milestone dice away. Because this will be a milestone. And by the nature of the concentration, I need to pause the music. This will be a milestone, and of course we do have Kerbals. We had not had more than 1 Kerbal on anything up until now, and now we have 4. All right, Z, T, check the map. All right, let's do it. The space station is even kind of close to us, which is amazing. That's really lucky. All right, now we're going up until we get to 60, and then we're going to pitch over 60 meters per second. I pitched over too aggressively. Let me undo that a little, and then we're going to hit prograde, and we're going to try to trust. Oof. Now later we can get more comfortable with also looking at other readouts and seeing if, for example, our inclination is correct. But this time I'm just concentrating on getting this launch right. I'm going to try to turn over a little bit. Try to get zeroed out a little bit more towards 90 degrees. There we go. We can open up, there's windows in here, we can target the other ship and then we can see, but I don't want to be managing too many things. Booster separation complete. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to keep them from crashing into each other. This actually looks like a rocket, y'all. I'm really happy with this. I worked on this yesterday? I guess I did this today. I can't remember now. This was yesterday. Oh yeah, I built this yesterday. But I didn't get to the part in the play session where I actually got to fly it. So I can tell that we need to go a little bit more north. We're launching into not the right inclination. I can see it. More north, more north, more north. Okay. There we go. Let's burn that way a bit. And set as target. And show engineer, show me orbital. Edit. Rendezvous. Oh no, there's this whole other thing for rendezvous. Okay. There's rendezvous. Never mind. Close the editor. I've paused so that I can learn how to use this. Phase angle, intercept angle, relative inclination is 0.4. So I want to see which is 0.3, 0.5. It's going up. Oh, it's going up now. Okay, there we go. Now let's just burn straight. Now I've gone too high. While I was looking at that, I wasn't looking at what I was doing, and I've gone too high, and I've messed up the efficiency of my burn, but you know what? It is okay. Now, it is ahead of us, which means we need to actually... we need our periaps to only go slightly above the atmosphere. There's a lot going on right now. Periaps needs to be as low as possible since we burned too much. I was worried about the inclination, and I stopped paying attention to the apoap's height. All right. So in 40 seconds, let's turn that off. It was just a distraction. We were doing fine. All right, we are going to... actually, no, I've learned my lesson in a test. There we go. Deploy the fairing around the capsule. And here is the capsule. You can see I've built it out of fuselage parts. These are Mark I fuselage parts, and we're just going to pretend they're modified Mark I fuselage parts so that we don't have to imagine that the Kerbals are sitting upside down. There we go. This is why I said I've learned my lesson. You want to jettison that not in the direction you're about to burn the engine. Lights on. We don't need the lights on for the launch maneuver. Now this thing is entirely autonomous. The Kerbals don't pilot this thing, unfortunately. I'm going to turn that off so that I can see what's happening a bit better. I just want my periaps to be out of the atmosphere. I don't want to, significantly change my inclination at all. Oh, it only burns in one ear. When you're in map mode, you hear the engine out of whatever ear you are on. A little bit disconcerting. Alright, let's throttle down. Periaps is going to be... I want it to be more than 80. Uh-oh. Yeah, our burn was not adequately efficient. Alright, we might have to revert. I don't know if we have the delta V in this thing to do this. I designed it. It flew exceptionally well, and we got into orbit with like 300 meters per second to spare. So I must have just flown the launch poorly. Getting pointed all funny. Get me pointed prograde. Hang on, don't point me prograde. Point me up from prograde so that I pull my periaps up and drop my apoaps down. Alright. There. Okay. So now that's target position at intersect 2. This is intersect that we're on now, so we're about to pass that. There we go. So this is where we want to be. At this one, we're going to add a maneuver here. What is the delta V that we're going to need in order to... not that, hang on. I want to see if we can do this on reaction control alone, which will involve burning radial in and prograde and radial in and prograde and radial in. Just make this 25. It needs to be minus 25, actually. Minus 25. And prograde. Radial in. And retrograde. We're talking about 30 meters per second or so. Oh, I'm still going. That's part of the problem. Probe is gonna the probe is the stage that we spent. We're behind them. So we don't want to burn so prograde. Zero that out. Delete this. I'm not sure what's going wrong here. Intersect 1. Add a maneuver there. Well, that's now closer. Hang on. Target sorry. Delete. What am I seeing here? Separation 105 kilometers. Separation 129 kilometers. Yeah, so we don't want separation to be going up. Add maneuver. Burn radial in so that our apoapse drops down to something more reasonable. Yeah, we want this to become the apoapse. There we go. That's what we want to see. And then we burn retrograde. Yes, we actually overdid it. If I had not gotten distracted, we would have been fine. Incidentally, how is it that I happen to be facing exactly the right way? We've got lots of monopropellant, so we should be able to do this. Just the question of how long will this take. Quick save and let's warp here. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the shape of... We're going to have to wait very slow because our periapse is only 81 kilometers. I'm changing the shape of the orbit so that our time to go around Kerbin will be exactly matching the time that the station goes around Kerbin. So that we'll end up in the same place. I didn't even look at what our relative inclination is. 0.3 degrees is not a big deal. But I can also fix that, now that I think about it. Should have started with that. Already passed the nodes, though. It's fine. 0.3 degrees is very little in this grand scheme of things. Hang on. I'm auto time warping, so I gotta be careful. Warp. Warp here. See, it's just ahead of me. We actually lucked out. Like, we didn't launch. Our window for launching wasn't based on how close we were to the space station at all. Our window for launching was based on the time of day that the Space Center went underneath the station's orbit. All right, let's get pointed the right way. This is the first use of reaction control thrusters, incidentally, because we just invented these. All right, I'm going to go a little faster. I'm going to pass. Oh, and I want to actually do the maneuver, not... I don't know how long this is going to take. 42 meters per second on RCS might take a while, so let's turn it on and see how it goes. Yeah, I was a little late. So I'm going to turn off the maneuver since it won't matter anyway. And instead I'm going to watch the result. Just going to hold this down. And as we pass, we should see this start to shift. There it is. 8. Separation is increasing. Okay. Okay, let's now face on the ascending node. Well, it doesn't matter which way. Let's face one of our nodes. Which node is this? I mean, let's face normal or anti-normal. I don't know which one matters more. And we'll warp here so that I can correct the inclination. We're now chasing our quarry. See, it's up ahead. Space Station Centaur is ahead. I am pointing south, so we want to actually thrust north. So I will just use retro thrusters here. Like so. Wait, hang on. Let me get the more precise version. My relative inclination should be decreasing. It's increasing. I've switched something in my head. I don't know what it was. We still have lots of monopropellant. I mean, obviously we wanted to keep this, but 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, there we go. Our relative inclination is now basically 0. So now, you said it. They're talking. So now I'm just going to experiment with a little bit of thrust to see what might cause us to have a closer intercept. And it seems that pressing J is helping. It's changing the shape of the orbit slightly. Let me turn on caps lock so I have fine control. That doesn't seem to matter as much as J. J would be burning toward the planet, I think. Four kilometers. Uh, 2 kilometers. Now the problem is, how are we going to kill... So what is our relative velocity? Okay, good. Our relative speed is only going to be 27. That's still a little dangerous, because now we got to use the reaction control thrusters to also match velocity. We learned our lesson. Don't mess with the launch. And maybe give the thing slightly more fuel, I guess. Separation 0.0 kilometers. Actually, I actually want it to be, I want there to be some separation, because we're going to come screaming in at 30 meters, 25 meters a second. And I don't actually know how long it will take us to brake. So we've saved, and now I'm going to warp here. We don't need this anymore. Show engineer, turn that off. I'm not going to worry about monopropellant. We have enough. And here we come. We're going to fly around. Let's get pointed north. Actually, we do want this. We want to see... Is it... No, this isn't what we need. We want to look at the map and see that our separation is actually 0.3 kilometers. I'm not sure how that happened in 1 minute. So let's actually warp here. There it comes. It's loaded in. So we're going to point slightly away from this, and we're going to full thrust and try to start killing this velocity. I'm trying to push this node towards the station while also reducing velocity. We're doing it. We're rendezvousing. Our relative speed is 11 meters per second. Let's get it down under 10. All right. Huh. What's inside that is giving me... I'm getting thrust from this tug inside. Well, that's why we have so much monopropellant. There's this is the tug. Oh yeah, so docking maneuvers. So we have to do a little bit of work, actually, to get everything docked exactly how we want. So let's turn off RCS and make sure that we're pointing target retrograde. Let's go ahead and start... Bring it back down. Now let's bring it down to 5, maybe 3 meters per second. It's going to be a little slow. There's a lot of parts going on now. I am so proud of this, y'all. I'm not expressive. I'm not an expressive person. But... Oop. Alright. We've reduced our relative velocity to 1 meter per second. Save game. I pressed load save, but if I don't save game as, let's just save it as quick save 1, and that will delete whatever that was, and we can start having some hygiene, because it's all going to be okay. All right, so now we are approaching the space station. So we've got our capsule. We'll turn the lights on. The capsule's going to go on the habitation section. However, before we do that, we can actually do a little bit of space maintenance. No. We'll go ahead and dock, and then we'll do the space maintenance. I think we'll target that node, and we will control from here. Do I have... We're finally going to turn this on. Look at this! The Navy Fish docking port alignment indicator. Wow. Alright, so the way this works is I got to get the orange marker in the center. The orange marker that's on the side deals with rotation. I'm happy with my rotation. Oh, I gotta slow down a bit. We're coming in a bit too fast. The yellow marker is my thrust direction. The green is how I am aligned relative to the docking port. The lights are cool, but I think they're messing things up. We can put music back on now. I just had to concentrate so hard. And we did have a screwy launch. But now we're back in our element. So let's turn this way. As you can see, they've launched sort of facing weird directions. But they're happily just passengers right now. The vessel is performing an autonomous docking maneuver. By that I mean I am performing a docking maneuver and the vessel is taking credit. And we're coming in at 1/3 of a meter per second, which is too fast for real life. But in Kerbal, that's very reasonable. Let's actually slow down a little bit. The sound of victory. Woo! A historic event. This actually deserves a named quick save. Save game as historic docking. I'm going to go through and get rid of some of my quick saves. Here we are. Now it's going to be laggy because we have so many parts. But look at this. Am I an hour in? I got a few minutes left. Very excited about this. So, let's warp to the daytime. So we're just going to spend the night hanging out. But the Kerbals have arrived at the station. Now, I had this concern that there's no way to get out of the capsule. The only way that the Kerbals can get out of the capsule is by doing a transfer. So if I click on this, Coffin. I can't EVA, but you can do the honors of entering the space station through the docking node. Coffin Kerman becomes the first Kerbal to enter Space Station Centaur. Jondrin will go next. And Iriri Kerman will join them. She'll go ahead and check out the other compartment. And Seanbree is going to stay in the capsule for a moment and oversee and use the capsule's window's vantage point to observe the upcoming maneuver. So, I'm going to shut down this engine so that we can't have any accidents. Now I'm going to deploy the cargo bay. Not that it's necessary, but I have it, so we'll do that. Now, I want to pull all the monopropellant I can into here. Fill this up. So we've got a few different things going on here, but best way to show, I think, is just do it so that we don't dilly-dally. I'm going to decouple node and then switch craft. Translating up. So this is a space tug and a docking node. Here it is. And we're going to translate to the right. We want to go down a bit. And while this is happening, we can look inside. And we can see if anybody can see. Look, there it is. Can you see it? You can! Look, he can see it out the window. There's a screenshot for you. Kerbal episode 10. Alright. Hang on. Stop leaving. So now we need to switch back. And decouple this node. Switch this vehicle. Alright, now we got a little bit of juggling going on. While others be struggling, I be juggling. Alright, now we're going to control from here. And set that as target. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Open this. This is going to be a little weird. Oh, whoops, I didn't use that. Oh. Things are not quite working how I thought. I gotta reorient my brain. That part isn't what I wanted. I actually want to roll over. Yeah. Okay. V. Let me reorient myself so that my brain is doing what I expected. Okay, RCS H. Got to be going, translating towards it. Go get the thing. Actually, you know what might be easiest? Hang on. That is the target. Turn around. Get pointed roughly correctly. Yep. Get that correct. Uh-huh. And now rotate correctly. Good. And now we want to translate down and get it fixed. I can do it, I can do it. Oop, oop. Past it. Coming in. Closing distance, 3.8 meters. Closing velocity, 0.5 meter per second. Any second now we'll hear that lovely docking noise. Said any second now we'll hear that lovely docking noise. Closing velocity, 0.1 meters per second. Distance, 1.7 meters. And here it comes. Good. And meanwhile, this vehicle, which was the upper stage for the Argus rocket that launched us here, can now return and dock back up, because it is a very effective tank. It just doesn't have very symmetrical thrust situation. I can do this. Alright. Sorry if the music is too quiet, but I've just been very concentrated. Alright. So, once we've docked this in, then our little juggling will be complete. This is sort of like a utility docking node that goes on the rear of the station. There we go. Juggles complete. So we've moved in and we've done a little bit of rearranging. So what we always want the tug to be full of fuel. That's why it was asymmetrical. That's a fuel tank. There's a fuel tank in here. I feel like I kind of made it. I might have placed it 90 degrees of how I had intended. It looks a little bit weird, but that's fine. So that was the main delivery from the craft. So we can now close the cargo bay, although I think it looks cool open, so let's change my mind and open it. That's the delivery. So we'll turn the lights on. And here we are. We've got a nice big fuel tank for monopropellant, but we can also keep using this as a fuel tank for liquid fuel and oxidizer until we get something better. And it is a propulsion system if we, for some reason, need one. The spacecraft can get, when we want to go home, we can deorbit just on this monopropellant. We'll probably fill a bit more so that we know we have enough to go home in. But overall, mission success. They don't need lights in the daytime. Thank you for watching. John Bree is going to move in there, and now our Kerbals are going to enjoy the lavish accommodations where they have space. Space is this way. Just makes me think of I wish I knew the YouTuber's name. I can't think of it. Major Tom to a more responsible ground control. Trash, rubbish, refuse, junk, food, not food. Speaking of food, see. How are we doing with our life support, guys? And then I will go. So this is our first experiment. Today is, well, apparently it's 12 days since the station launched. I don't know how long it is since we just launched. It's year 1, day 90. Video evidence, year 1, day 90, and it says our life support situation is that everybody has 115 days of supplies. And it says plus 15 because they have 15 days without supplies before anything happens. They could go for 2 days. They have enough electric charge on the ship for 2 days without power. Is that the case if I turn the lights on? Do the lights even use electric charge? Who knows? Anyway, that's how much battery power we have. Habitation is only 22 days. So that's the main constraint here, is that after 22 days on the station, they are gonna be unhappy mainly because they just don't have enough space to enjoy, to stretch their legs. So I'm not even sure I'll be able to transfer them out if they go on strike. I don't remember how tourists work. Can you move tourists between vehicles? I think you can. I'll have to look that up. If they become angry and they go on strike, they won't. In other words, they haven't had any food, or they've been cooped up too long. I have the settings so that whether that's because of food or because of habitation limits, they'll go on strike and become tourists. They don't die. They just sit there and they don't do you any good. I'll have to check how tourists work and if I'll be able to transfer them. Because if they go on strike, we could always bring them home, assuming we can transfer them around. But I'll look at what the calculation is. Hab for, yeah, there's 5,000 supplies, 43 per day. Will give us 115 days. It's plenty of days. But Hab for 22 days, 0 vessels shared within 150 meters. I see. Within 150 meters that counts. Yeah, so we're going to want to send up... This is good to know because it impacts my launch plans. I was going to send up a fuel tank next. But actually what I need to do is construct a more lavish habitation section, perhaps with some windows. Maybe a viewing cupola. I'll have to see. I can basically take 2 lander cans and 2 airplane fuselages, put 4 Kerbals in it in the VAB, and have to hire a Kerbal to do that, and add stuff until I get more time. I'd like them to be able to stay in space for at least 50 days. But for a first flight, this is great. So I'm going to go ahead right now and add an alarm clock. And I'm going to not attach the active vessel, and I'm going to call this crew rotations. 20 days. The pad will be ready in a week. In 20 days, we might need to bring them home or have sent up something that makes them happier. But until then, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us in space. Bye-bye.